they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street, they hawk. Still them talk, say, make we no talk. But thank God, say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh, yo, yo, Mayegun don't come. Mayegun làwa mọ̀, la mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀, la mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àṣírí.
Thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are joining from. As much as you are joining live, as you know, not watching the replay now, okay? And to those of you who are also going to be watching a replay, share this broadcast before you settle down, okay? Like the broadcasts and take your time and read the caption and the description of the broadcasts before you watch the whole thing. Share the broadcasts.
Godfatherism, kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o.
Olúwọlé Adéjùgbé,
Mayegun diary.
I cite you.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary.
Peter Obi will be declared winner by the courts. Mellow your tension. Worry less. Who said this? Abure, the Labour Party chairman, who is currently on tour of the United States. He said, worry less. In the next few weeks and months, Peter Obi will be declared winner. Tonight, I'll share that with you.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Robert Dikenu,
Ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
I cite you too.
Mayegun ti dé.
He will create 50 million jobs in 3 years. Tinubu's minister just released that statement as well.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Mayegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Mayegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin òwò.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn láti.
Mayegun ti dé.
Òwúrọ̀ olóṣèlú.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Remember, you need to like this broadcast. You need to share it before you finally settle down and start commenting. I mean, like exchanging what have you. Do that.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mo ti dé o. So, good evening to you once again. Good morning to you and good afternoon to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun and this is the Temple of Truth. Again. So you are welcome. Now, it doesn't matter which side of the coin you belong to right now. It is ideal for every one of us to kind of pay attention, because this is not limited to those you probably, especially those of you who are like Lagos Abobakus. The consequences of the consequences of Tinubu and gang's permutation. It's not going to be limited to those who don't like Tinubu. You are not spared too. So I would advise, keep your sentiment for now. I mean, keep your preference for now. According to Tinubu's minister, they have a plan of creating 50 million jobs in 3 years, just like Bokwari told you. it would be creating 3 million jobs every year. And it was supposed to have probably created 24 million new jobs. But Nigeria ended up as the unemployment capital of the world until Kolu came and they rewrite the stats to say Nigeria is near full employment. But that's another story. So what they are now saying is that lies. They are not going to take any loan. I'm going to play you the video, by the way, but we'll get to that part. They're not going to take any loan. And a lot of them were pretty much like the mumus, already kind of, falling for that. Wow, that's a wonderful idea. In fact, this is the kiniko. The truth of the matter is this. In the last 2 months alone, just last 2 months, Tinubu's government have secretly and partially openly, should I say partial openly or partially openly, they have taken over $6 billion in 2 months. Just so you know, $6 billion loan. 750 here, 500 here, 800 here, $1 million, 700 here, 300 here. You know what I mean? 3 billion here, and then 500 million there. They've taken all this money codedly. They haven't told you. We don't even have a clue how much money they have printed in the last 2 months. But that will come to light later, Abi. We'll get to that. But I was kind of doing my own me time when I stumbled on the clip, the video of Labour Party chairman. I mean, they kind of say it's the current embattled chairman of Labour Party, whatever, Obi'll. It was in the UK about 2 days ago. So he kind of made a video to tell everybody that this is what he's been doing, going around to meet with Labour Party people, obedient people here and there. And then he added a message that became an headliner in Nigeria. Peter Obi will be declared winner. And he repeated the same when he got to Washington. I want us to start from there, okay? Before we go fully into the first FEC meeting of Tinubu and his 45 thieves. To start with, all right? Let's quickly take that stopover. In London with Obi'll, I mean, he was talking about the confidence. I mean, like, no matter how everybody feels, no matter how all of you feel right now, he's kind of confident that maybe he's just kind of there to say that, like he's expected to say that, but there is more. Listen to this. Obi'll.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. I've just concluded my working visit in the United Kingdom. I'll be leaving UK today for the United States. I'm going to land precisely in Washington, D.C. And on the 28th, I'm going to have a town hall meeting and several other meetings in Washington, D.C. I'll be proceeding from Washington, D.C. to New York City on the 28th, where from 29th to 31st and 1st, I'm going to also have a lot of town hall meetings and several other scheduled meetings in the New York City. I'll be leaving New York City on the 2nd of September for Arizona, where I will have a town hall meeting on the 3rd, and we'll be leaving Arizona on the 4th back to Washington, D.C. to en route Nigeria. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate all Labour Party members and obedient movements in the United Kingdom for the massive support and for finding time to engage me to participate in all the series of events. I'm really, really very proud of the UK chapter for that outstanding performance. I also want to seize this privilege to say that a new Nigeria is definitely possible. I do not want us to be deterred, to be discouraged by the temporary setback. I believe surely that Peter Obi will be president of Nigeria. I'm sure that the courts we do the right thing. And for us in Labour Party, we have put our hands on the plow and we definitely not look back. We are determined to continue this struggle until we reclaim the country, until the country is repositioned for effective service delivery, until the country works for Nigeria. We will not rest on our horse. Thank you and God bless you.
So that was that short video that I released that became headliner in Nigeria today. But there is something I want to quickly point out, especially now that I have your attention. If I ask a lot of you, especially the obedient watching me right now, who have who are feeling cheated by the system, you are kind of wondering what on earth would make Nigeria courts ignore all of the available evidence against the emergence of a Tinubu. You are wondering what could court, what are they going to do? Which simply means a lot of you from the 25th of February, you have been feeling this personal disgust of how you have been cheated, having participated, as you were told, legally in the electoral process, which, is a process. A lot of you feel cheated. And you kind of have bottled your anger, waiting for what would the court say. What would the court say, Abi? So the point I'm trying to drive at is that if you are obedient watching me right now, you understand what injustice simply means, Abi? Especially if you are like obedient. I'm talking about a lot of you are really dedicated, including those of you who traveled back to Nigeria after organizing different gathering and then town hall meetings to encourage your fellow compatriots to support the political movement that could put an end to Nigerians' problems. In your way, you invested in it because you expected the system to protect that your interest, no matter what. Even if you are going to be the minority, you still wanted it clean and clear. But they did worse. So you understand what injustice means, right? Now that you do understand it and you are indeed one of those who believe that except the judiciary want to throw Nigeria up into trouble or problems, that is when they are going to ignore all of these constitutional infractions committed by INEC and by Tinubu himself and APC generally. A lot of you are waiting because of the disgust and anger you feel towards being cheated. And you are seeing those who stole from me, who have stolen from you, parading themselves as the Lord of the Manor. Good. Do you know that in Nigeria government, right, launched a genocidal ethnic cleansing campaign? And when they saw the straw, an excuse to execute that genocidal policy of theirs, they did not hesitate. And to this day, thousands of young people have been killed or made disappear. I am talking about IPOB. You know something about injustice? As people say everywhere, all the time, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, which is simply put as injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. No, the right thing is that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice elsewhere or everywhere. Now, you cannot cherry pick having fallen into the scheme and the plan of the same system, the same corrupt Nigeria system that will never follow any due process, but put together a scheme to cleanse the Igbos at any given opportunity. You witnessed that, but whatever you now felt towards the IPOB or the general campaign for self-determination, no matter what you feel towards it, if you think they have done anything illegally, if you think they have committed any crime, the right process is for the law to what? Take its full course. Now, talking about the law taking its full course, where we are all not going to cherry pick justice and injustice here, right? 5 solid times that Nigeria government has managed to defend or put up any kind of charges against Nnamdi Kanu. 5 times he has defeated Nigeria without any evidence of any crime committed by him. Nigeria court last year, same Nigeria court last year, having kidnapped him 2 years, a year before then, their court said, with all the evidence before them, that Nigeria should return Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally back to Kenya. A lot of you saw that too. Even though that might not be your expected judgment, Abi, but judgment is judgment through their process court, their own court. A lot of you read that judgment and it was like, well, the government should not let him go. Their court said released him unconditionally. Then they went back to court. Malamu went back to court to go and ask court that, please, give us time, okay? We cannot just return him. We don't have the resources to return him now. So we want you to please grant us the right to continue to keep him illegally. The court denied that request. Up to this moment, the standing judgment from the Nigerian court says Nnamdi Kanu should be put in a plane and returned back to Kenya. Now, that comes back to you. I know how some of you feel towards IPOB, and I'm not actually going to judge you with that. I'm just going to let you be the judge yourself. You are pursuing the same process right now. You want justice for the electoral fraud. You want justice for those who believed in a process. But today, the same process is now it's like changing the goalpost during the game. You saw all of that and you are so angry right now. An innocent man is being locked up in Nigeria DSS detention, being tortured, denied access to his family, his medical doctors. Is being denied, and the standing court judgment is still there. Then they said they were going to Supreme Court from September 2022. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has been postponing, adjourning, and they are not even interested in listening to that case. Then from nowhere, the Nigerians, the typical Nigerians, or Aneze Ndigo, they came out, they want to be surety. Tinubu, please, we beg you, please release him to us. We will be the surety. Surety for what? For what exactly? Begging for what? I just thought I should put that in your mind before we get fully into this. A lot of you don't believe in their court, of course. But somehow, you needed them to confirm or justify your distrust for them, which made it more interesting to a lot of you. So when you talk about justice and injustice, you cannot cherry pick. Even when people you don't like manage to get justice from a corrupt system that is only out there to hunt the rest of us, the ideal thing is, think about if yours is also denied and everybody move on, because it is likely going to be the case. In the next few days, the Nigeria judiciary will pick a date that is going to possibly make or mar Nigeria in the coming months. So whether you believe in them or not, everybody is waiting. But Abure, getting to the United States of America, actually repeated the same message. Yes, they might be dodgy. Yes, the judiciary may be corrupt, but I can reassure all of you, Peter Obi will be declared the winner. Not even a running, what do you call it? Not even a rerun. Abure in the US, Washington.
And therefore the quarrel here is that number one, the ruling party is using them. At first they wanted to get the leadership of the party so that they can withdraw Bill's petition in the courts. But of course, they resisted it and they failed. Today they are still afraid with the kind of synergy and with the force that we have within the party. And they feel that they needed to split the party and have some people to work with them in order to destabilize the party. They have realized that the party is gradually becoming a major political force to reckon with in the country. And what they can do to it is to try to create a vision within the party. And so they have paid them huge sums of money. And I'm saying this without trying to run them down. And that's why I didn't want to comment on it, so that it doesn't look as if, because I have the privilege of being here, I'm running them down, but that's the reality on the ground. And I'm sure that you all saw it. When they attempted to come to the courts to withdraw Peter Obi's petition, I'm sure you saw the beating that they were given at the courts. We have defeated them all round. In the high courts, I've defeated them. The high court held clearly that what they were trying to do is a coup d'etat that will not work. In the Court of Appeal, they proceeded to Court of Appeal and have also defeated them in the Court of Appeal. What they do is to promote lies and propaganda. 3-4 days back, they came back again. I'm sure that you saw it. Probably that's why some of you were worried that another Court of Appeal in Owerri, sitting in Abuja, have affirmed them. They actually lost the case. What played out was that in the Imo State primaries, their group organized 3 primaries. Their own group, their papa group. They organized primaries where one Basil Maduka emerged, Joseph Okiado emerged, and one other candidate emerged. 3 primaries within one group. It is within themselves the Maduka sued one to court. They didn't add me to it. They didn't add Atan Achonono to it, who is the candidate. And one of them called judgment against them, said, okay, no judgment really. The court held that they had no jurisdiction to hear the case. But the court went ahead to make some sideline comments. And by the time we saw that judgment, we felt it wouldn't be good for us to leave it. It was good for us to appeal it. Because in the Nigerian system, anything can happen.
But the audio is very low. So I'm just going to cut it. That was him, meeting Nigerians, what do you call it, the obedient, as well as, because for the obedient movement that just happened in our very eyes, ladies and gentlemen, the role that the diasporans played is not Keremi, it's not like small. When it comes to fundraising and funding different groups from the diaspora. So the diaspora has played a huge role in that obedient movement. And let me tell you something, right? In case if you have not observed, when you look at Tinubu and gang, they are not really worried about the tribunal. Have you not noticed? Because they just expect the tribunal to ignore every evidence a lot of you are flaunting here and there. To them, these are just campaign after elections. They in fact wanted you to believe that there was no single evidence presented by Obi and Atiku against Tinubu's election, because they believe that all of that are just judicial, what do they call it? Judicial exercise, judicial experiments. If you have any evidence you are talking, there's nothing. All of the rigging, all of the contested figures and the rest, nothing. But according to them, Tinubu, they only caught one witness. INEC, they only caught one witness. Two witnesses represented INEC, Tinubu, Shitiman, and APC in their election. I mean, in their defense. But they don't care about every other evidence you think. All those constitutional infractions that you are pointing out, the perjury, the forgery, all of those things. No, the dual citizenship or tri-citizenship that Tinubu has, they don't care. To them, you are just, that's your own. The law will ignore all of that. Which law? Concept. Nigeria law. Who is the law? It is called, in their own word, right? Any day, anytime, may the tribunal just come out so that if it go lead to wahala, let it lead to wahala. So they are preparing for that. Waiting you go do, kind of. They are not worried. And everybody should be worried. I mean, even those of you who didn't know about Nigerian laws or international laws or which section of Nigerian constitution frown against this or frown against that, and all of that, all these things you know today that you didn't know 6 months ago, you didn't know them. Today, you are now very much aware, even though you didn't attend any court sitting. With all of the presented evidence that are quite public, including their own written addresses, you could tell that there is no way their law should ignore all of this, but it's going to ignore it. That's the expectation of the, what do you call it, of this egbekegbe. So it's more or less like, what are you going to do if that then happens? I don't know. I think I have said this from the beginning. I said, number one, I wasn't expecting the obedient movement to pull what they pulled in 2015. Sincerely, and I'll continue to remind all of you that I never expected it. Do you get that? But they actually fought a fight, a real one, a real political movement that shook the establishment of Nigeria. And to this day, whether you want to agree or you want to disagree, or let me say whether you want to accept that or deny it, they remain the only opposition in Nigeria today, politically, that is actually dragging the system and forcing the system, the establishment, to react like they are panicking too. They are the ones. They drag this one, drag that one. Every day, you hear Peter Obi should call his supporters. Peter Obi should talk to his supporters. Peter Obi said, obedient, have no respect. You know, every day, they have been the one dragging them. So which means they have done something that whether you are part of them or whether you don't even kind of support what they are doing because they should have done something else, you need to acknowledge what they have done. They have changed the political landscape of Nigeria. Political landscape, underline that, what do you call it? That two words, political landscape of Nigeria, whether you want to agree with it or not. Everywhere you turn to, they are worried. Those who have been in the political system, that kind of, sort of a slavish system, that's how we do them. If you don't follow this step, you forget it. You can never be president. If you know you can never be this and that in Nigeria, they demystified all of the known generational political myth. They demystified all of that. They forced the system to rig election against them. Can you even believe that? So you need to very much acknowledge that, whether you like them or you don't like them, it doesn't matter. They seem to be everywhere. They are everywhere. Your family members are part of them. Your lovers, your partners, they are everywhere. But you need to acknowledge that. And it is not due to maybe Peter Obi is special. No. It is like this boxer, I can't remember his name, who represented Nigeria at the Olympics or one of these international games, anyway, boxing bouts. And his first opponent, knockout, first round, knockout. His second opponent, knockout. When he got to his sixth opponent, this was like him now going to probably semi-final or final. That one was the fastest. This was somebody who was like beating everybody before he met this Nigerian. And when when it came to their turn, Nigerian versus this person, semi-final, going to final, or probably it was actually final for those of you who know this story very well. The whole thing didn't last more than maybe a round or two. That shocked a lot of people because they were like, could you tell us what actually motivates you, as a boxer, that you have been like all your 6 games, all your 6 fights, knockout, like technical knockout. Tell us what motivated you or what is motivating you. He said, listen, I'm making this kind of scenario up now, like I'm talking about what I'm about to say now. That's not exactly what he said, right? But pretty much like it. He responded to the journalist and said, listen, I am from Nigeria. And in Nigeria, we have a lot of problems. So every time I go into that ring, I put all of the frustration that I have faced in Nigeria and Nigerians are facing. I put all the frustration in my 2 arms as to strengthen them. So whoever received the punch is receiving the frustrated punch of Nigerians. And he believed that that's the force behind this victory. Go and read about him. No joke. That's not a joke. That's what he said. He said he put all the frustration because every time he remembers that he's going to go back to that Nigeria and he knows what it is like, he put that frustration in his own fists. And they know they take camp for 2 times. Anyone that that's in it. So what you have right now is that Peter Obi is benefiting from the frustration of Nigerians, angry Nigerians, disappointed Nigerians, especially the Gen Z, who have asked their elderly ones, how did Nigeria get to this stage? And they couldn't get any satisfactory answers. Those are the people who are pushing all of this. You can call them hateful. They are so hateful. You can try to blackmail them or gaslight them as what do you call it? Some of you are calling them IPOB. Some of you are calling them Igbos. You can continue to delude yourselves. But in reality, your family members are part of them. They are the young Nigerians who are tired, done for. But you are denying them by what? By labeling them whatever will make you feel better or any good reason to attack them. But in reality, they retired those who were supposed to be veteran politicians, career criminals. They retired them from all across board. You know that? One of them, indeed, was this guy, Kwankwaso. I mean, you probably remember that. Talking about demystifying the generational political myth in Nigeria. If you want to be anything, you cannot do anything except the northern Nigeria approve it. The northern Nigeria must be, you cannot be president of Nigeria except the northern Nigeria, blah, 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 blah. That's exactly what this idiot, who has now been humbled and sacked, I don't know if you have heard, NNPP that Kwankwaso started. After hopping here and there, twerking for Tinubu, licking us and the rest of all those diapers of Tinubu. Last, running from pillar to post, helter-skelter, within just 2 months, person wey talk say it was an insult for anybody to tell him to go and be a deputy vice president to Peter Obi. Like, let's even think about it. He's an Igbo man. Nobody knows him in northern Nigeria. And all the nonsense he spewed at the time. Otiwadi, one of the IDP politicians in Nigeria, internally displaced politicians, is not a member of APC, is arch rival or arch enemy. Gandola, the Babariga Mobile Banking CEO of Kano, is the chairman of APC, Egbekegbe, right now. And right now, EFCCO, ICPCO, Police, Mola, Malamo, every one of them, that they listen to the chairman now. Because now them they power. Kwankwaso, who was angling to become, he wanted to be president in OFB, because the only place he can be president of is Kano. Kwankwaso, they born to rule northern criminal, political criminal. One of them, a born to rule Wiri, said, how could you look at him, a northerner, Muslim, to go and be a vice president to a trader from Agulu in Anambra? How much is Anambra? You remember when they used to say all of that? How much is if you put all of the Igbo land together, all the Igbo states? Do they reach Kano? Do they reach Borono? You are insulting him. That was what he said. The Pangolo born to rule Kwankwaso. Today, the party is started. They've suspended him. They said he is a disgrace that is about to cost them their single state of Kano, because he is not politically smart. But may I take you back a bit to last year, when they were wear coats. They talk like somebody maybe say, Nigeria don't suffer. I want to hear Kolomashe leader in Somalia. They should go and be leaders in Sudan and all these some other places. So when you come wear coat, they talk about being president of 200 million mumus in a contraption called Nigeria. Joke taken too far. Sorry if I am taking it a little bit personal. It felt so kind of ordinary, especially those of you who witnessed the whole thing at the time. It was so arrogant. It was like, even the Kano right now, it be like balloon. They don't carry pin, safety pin. They're going to poke them. And to poke them, boom. Now he had the first break first. But let's go to that last year when he was being asked, why don't you just try and be the vice president to Peter Obi, so that, the Igbos who have never been the president of Nigeria, they will actually kind of stand in a good stead. Now that they are demanding to break away from Nigeria, don't you think, like what they did for the Yorubas in 1999, after they killed Abiola, but because they believed that the Yorubas were going to break away from Nigeria sooner or later, so they politically agreed within their coven, within their political abraka, whatever there, that let the next president come from Yoruba land. And just like that, all political parties in Nigeria, they had to field Yoruba candidate. Have you forgotten? In case if you have forgotten, they may not actually included in that part of your history. Yes, that's why Obasanjo became president of Nigeria. It was a scheme. They just killed Abiola. Nadeko was everywhere. It was going to be a tough one for the military to continue in Nigeria. And at that time, it was going to be almost impossible without Nigeria leading to civil war. The Yorubas have been slaughtered in the political ring, and the Yorubas are not going to just look away. So they said, okay, for Nigeria to remain one, the next president must be Yoruba. Then they cook and cook and cook. Obasanjo became the president, remember? That was what they were asking this Kwankwaso. That the Igbos are saying they want to leave, marginalized. And of course, they have been marginalized, like every part of Nigeria, of course. But hey, how can you be shouting one Nigeria, and you are saying to yourself that over your dead body, would an Igbo man be president of Nigeria? Baba, why don't you just let them go? But you, somebody, we don't do politics for a while. A northerner just finished now, or about to finish. Kwankwaso, don't you think it's going to be politically kind of good? If you really love the Igbos and you want them to be part of Nigeria, give them that sense of belonging. And they said the Igbos, hang on, I'm deviating a bit. They said the Igbos must continue to build bridges. If Igbos want to rule Nigeria, one Nigerian is to, if Igbos want to rule Nigeria, they must belong. They must stop calling Nigeria zoo. They must try to blend with other people. They must respect other people's culture. They must respect. I mean, I don't know how it feels to be an Igbo man in Nigeria. Honestly speaking, I would never know. But in my own, what I have seen so far, I can bet it. If I was an Igbo man and I get to know what I know about Nigeria, Baba, trust me, I may be worse than Nnamdi Kanu. Like, I just tell you my mind. Yes, I may be worse than Nnamdi Kanu. A lot of you may be living in denial. It's okay. It's okay. You know? Now only Igbos, they get conditions. If they must rule Nigeria. But when you look at the northerners, the criminals who have wrecked the economy of Nigeria again and again and again, the criminals who have made sure that their region never catch up with the rest of Nigeria intentionally. The region that has, the criminals from northern Nigeria who planned coup, killed people, took power, rigged election, did all of this, siphoned money, looted Nigeria. Nobody, they give them conditions. I mean, like, let's be honest. Now only Igbo, they get condition. Now only Igbo must be this. You must be that. You must be that. For them to be in Nigeria, let us tell ourselves the truth. All Igbo people must love themselves. That's a Yoruba man, no? A Yoruba man that is advising the Igbos. You know, for Igbos to rule Nigeria, the Igbos must come together and they must love themselves. As if to say Yorubas came together and they loved themselves and they brought this crook upon ourselves. Like, we love ourselves so much. That we kept the criminals and the crook that we have on us. As if to say we had choices. As if to say, I'm just saying, when you look at those who have looted Nigeria, impoverished Nigeria, I'm talking about those who have been president of Nigeria from every part of Nigeria. Now only the Igbos, they get condition. The Igbos need to learn how to. Igbos must learn how to. Learn what? Like, tell me, learn what? What did the Yorubas learn that gave them the right, that gave us that right? Nothing. It is just political machination. It is not because there are no good Igbos. Have you seen them properly? Have you seen the configuration of all their politics? The Igbos are there. Igbos are there. Yorubas are there. But it is political machination. Don't just, no. Can we trust Igbo? No, we can't trust them now. No. Even the Igbos that are among them, they accepted that. But when it is convenient to play the card of, the Igbos must learn how to, and then you see some Igbos too. The Igbos with inferiority complexes. I don't feel sorry for you, because I have seen Yorubas with inferiority complexes too. I have seen Hausas, I've seen all Nigerians with different inferiority complexes. And that is why the worst of the worst are those who are representing you. Unfortunately. So look at this entitled arrogant scum called Kwankwaso. He's never worked in his life. They call him engineer. Do you know that? Dr. Engineer Rabiu Kwankwaso, because he went to India to go and do PhD on pure water. Can you believe that? Pure water. Somebody went to go and do honorary PhD in India. On how to differentiate between clean pure water and dirty pure water. And then, and he became a doctor. So he can't go put on suit. They were talking about how to chase away this mad, what do you call it? This mad APC, that has divided Nigeria, divided Nigerians. Impoverished Nigerians, looted, bankrupted Nigeria. Okay, Ogbeni, come. Now, Buhari won't finish now. Now, one Malam won't finish. You be Malam again. And there's no way where you go spell Malam, Baba. Whether you spell them from the front, na Malam. Or you spell them from the back, na Malam. When they come put on to the brag, say, Andrew Liver. I mean, like, come on.
So you're hoping to pick a running mate from the southeast?
That's my choice.
Okay.
Things being equal, that's the choice of our party. Because you see,
or maybe they're even thinking that you might be the running mate to Peter Obi.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is what the enemy outside there is saying. The implication is that if you put somebody from the southeast, unfortunately there are many issues in the southeast. You see, northern voter is the worst hit on this issue of maladministration in this country. But even under that circumstance, a northern voter also believes that he is better with one united Nigeria. And therefore, most of the things that are happening in the south, especially in the southeast, people are not comfortable with that. And as long as you have somebody from there in any party, it will be very difficult for the northern voters to vote. And that's the situation now. And those workers who are against, in the actual sense, working against LP, Southeast, and so on, what they believe is, if you put anybody under this arrangement from that side of the country, the northern voters will not vote. And who will they vote? Their own candidate in the southeast, I mean in the north.
So, can you or would you be a running mate to Peter Obi?
That's what I'm saying.
Would you like to be as a person, personally?
Ordinarily, you see, I'm jobless now. I'm not doing any job. So to become a vice president,
you can't be a vice president.
But what I'm telling you is that if anybody from the south is now under this circumstance becomes the presidential candidate of our party or any other party, the implication is that because of the activities and many other issues that are real on the ground, northern voters will certainly go for their northern candidate in another party.
So the thinking is
the thinking is that it's not whether I like it or I don't like it. The fact remains that
the numbers,
everybody will lose. The number, he will lose, I will lose.
So if Peter Obi is coming to join you, it will be your running mate.
As long as you want to vote from the north, that's the situation, fortunately or unfortunately, today.
Voting from the north, as long as you want any vote from the north, it will need to come and be my vice. Freaking entitled descom. He actually admitted there that he's jobless. And that's why, if you see some of them hating on you, the obedient, you don't know what you have done or what you did. You demystified people like that. When election is coming, did you hear him when he said the northerners will not vote for any southeast candidates because of the activities going on there? They would rather vote for one of them from the north. Baba, what kind of activity is going on in eastern Nigeria? That would deny anybody from there to be president of Nigeria, but that same activity that is going on in northern Nigeria, will not deny anybody from northern Nigeria from being president of Nigeria. Boko Haram, Iswapu, and Fulani bandits, those who have killed tens of thousands of Nigerians, kidnapped hundreds of thousands of them for ransom, and they are still doing it. So anybody who come from northern Nigeria, those activities cannot deny them to be president of Nigeria. But the military invasion of eastern Nigeria, kidnapping and killing young people from eastern Nigeria, in the name of looking for IPOB, it would deny anybody who is from eastern Nigeria from becoming president of Nigeria. The political narrative of political scums, jobless scums that you call leaders in Nigeria. That is one. Last year, this other jobless one called Buba Galadima, it was on TV. Listen.
Tinubu supported General Buhari to become president. That is no news. It is true. But for Tinubu to come out and say he will build on what Buhari is doing, that is a minus for you. What is happening to Nigerians? You want to build on what Buhari is doing to you, to the country, the division, the insecurity, the economic meltdown. I think you yourself will not vote for such a person that is going to build on what Buhari has done. So that is one. But even if he supported Buhari, that is personal to him. It's not personal to us. So, and we have nothing to do with the government of Buhari. Having said that, if there is a prevailing insecurity that made other countries to evacuate from Nigeria, it is a failure of the APC. Therefore, no APC man should be allowed to take on the saddle of the of this country, having seen what they had done haven't seen what they had done to the system. So how can you, in your right senses, for example, vote an APC man who want to build on the legacies of General Buhari?
That was last year. It's also one of those loudmouth, lousy, jobless rogues roaming the street of Nigeria, and they are called political leaders, opinion makers, and the rest of them. Mind you, he said few things in the past that were probably like sensible, but that never kind of clear him of his alimajirism. Nigeria politicians have no real jobs. When you look at them, they call themselves doctor, engineer, this, that, but they have never practiced any of their profession. Like you will never see anywhere they are practicing their profession that is benefiting the Nigeria system. Never. They have always been scroungers, pickpockets. The person who said anybody who wanted to support the build on legacy of Bukuwari, like Tinubu said, should never be supported. Few months after that video, here is the weary, kneeling down and then begging for his as usual Imajiri arms. In the hands of the first daughter of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Iyaloja General. Look at her, look at him. See them.
Tinubu supported the General.
My big boss, all those on the high table, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me stand on the existing protocol and greet all of you on this auspicious day, the Democracy Day. For those of us who had been in trenches in politics for the last 45 years, knew that this time around the difference is very, very clear. We do appreciate Mr. President, and so far he was appointed for having been on the right track so far. We do pray and hope that the action man will continue with what he's doing and make Nigeria a better place for all of us. Thank you very much, Iyaloja, for this.
Of course, some of you will be like, but what is wrong? What is wrong if it's somebody during campaign, you can say anything. then you may change your mind. There's nothing wrong in that. Shongbo, they play. As if to say you actually have no idea what is playing out here. That was the moment they were saying that Tinubu was going to make Kwankwaso a minister. So Buba Galadima decided to visit Folashade Tinubu, Iyaloja General, to pay homage. You know what I mean? Like, now, you tell yourself, what exact policy has Tinubu announced since he came in that has been positive so far on your life, on your everyday life right now, as you are watching me from Nigeria? One single one. That you can say, oh, I mean, like, we now have comfort now. Things are changing now. Things are, in fact, if they continue like this, things are going to get better, Goni. Can you tell yourself that truth? But that is what Galadima was saying over 2 months ago. That video you watch is like 2 months ago. He said Tinubu is taking bold step and everything is, everything is different. He has been in politics for 45 years. And he happened to be Kwankwaso's handbag or a bagman, kind of. So, when they now heard that Minister Babu, personal assistant Mba, what did they call up? Any other appointment available? Nada. Kwankwaso's people are now hearing that. It be like, say, if the governor of Kano under NNPP won't keep that seat, he go need to go and prostrate for Gandola and go and beg Gandola and say, please, Jotori Olong, Ranka Dede, Nagode, Yesu, and all that. Forgive me. Or else, the only state where Kwankwaso had one single winner from his 1 million vote all over Nigeria, they may take him from him before December. And before they do that, his own people have already met. They said they have suspended him. I'm expecting another faction tomorrow to say nobody can suspend the founder. So they will come be like that. They drag that one. And if Kolu really want to deal with them, they go just make and remain so until it go die a natural death, just like they are doing to that of Peter Obi. But rather than for this to die, it seems like it's just becoming more and more trouble that everybody is concerned. When they call Peter Obi somebody who can never win election in Nigeria if it kind of chose not to be a vice president to Atiku or Kwankwaso, he had this to say at the time. Arise TV.
On the press. President.
55% of Nigerians in under unemployment ladder is the reason why we have all the problems, why Nigeria is insecure. Because rather than vote for competence, we will choose to vote for incompetence based on a primitive consideration of ethnicity and religion. Tell me, today you can't travel from Abuja to Kaduna by air, by road, by train. Is it because somebody from the southeast is in charge? You can't travel from Abuja to Mina by road. Is it because somebody from the southeast is in charge? Yesterday we had an attack by bandits on the presidential convoy in Katsina. Is it because the president from southeast is in charge? Show me where you can buy food cheaper. You have uninterrupted electricity, or people are prospering in the north because the northerners are in power, in the southwest because they are in power, and in the southeast. What we've chosen to do in this country, we will consistently hire vehicle drivers to fly the Nigerian aeroplane instead of hiring qualified pilots. My commitment is, let us campaign and deal with the issue of the problems of the country. There's a lot of problems besieging this country. If you don't know today, this country will soon default in their debt service. Now we'll be at a junk status. That's what should be preoccupying us now. So our schools, universities are shut down, and we're talking about who will vote for. Let's deal with the issues. This election will not.
That was his response at the time. But that was then.